Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world, one book at a time.
Today, we are diving into a classic of American literature to tackle a huge and, a surprisingly modern question. What do you do when your conscience is screaming at you to do something that your entire society says is a sin?
So let's get right into it. It all kicks off with this massive question of conscience, a moral dilemma that sits right at the very heart of Mark Twain's masterpiece.
The book we're talking about, of course, is Mark Twain's Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. Now, Twain's real genius here was using a child narrator, Huck. Huck's innocent eyes, well, they're the perfect lens to expose all the hypocrisy and the moral blindness of the so-called civilized adult world around him.
And this really is the central question the book forces every single one of us to confront. It's a dilemma that's absolutely timeless, right? What do you do when your gut tells you one thing, but literally everything you've ever been taught by your family, your church, your community is telling you the complete opposite?
Okay, so to really get what Huck is going through, we have to wrap our heads around this core idea, the socially conditioned conscience. I want you to think of it as society handing you a broken compass.
Twain himself made this really crucial distinction. Huck's conflict isn't some simple battle between his own good and evil impulses. No, the real battle is between what Twain called his sound heart, his natural, innate empathy, and a deformed conscience, one that was meticulously trained by a deeply unjust society to see good as evil. So, and this is the crucial point, Huck genuinely believes that helping his friend Jim, who is a runaway slave, is a terrible, terrible sin. He feels guilty about it. He actually thinks he's a bad person. But this isn't a personal flaw. It's a system failure. Society has literally programmed him to feel bad for doing the right thing. And this brings us to our central metaphor for this whole thing. Just imagine your conscience is a perfect compass. It works flawlessly. It really does. But what happens if that compass is calibrated to a map that's just fundamentally wrong? A map where what's labeled north is actually south. See, Huck's compass is working perfectly. It's just pointing him faithfully in the wrong direction, all because society gave him a broken map.
All right, so let's follow Huck out onto the river, because this is where we get to see how this whole conflict plays out. This is where Huck's own direct, lived experience starts to challenge all that faulty programming he grew up with.
You can just imagine the battle that's raging inside Huck's head. On one side, you've got the voice of society, and it's insisting, Jim is property, helping him is theft, it's a sin that'll land you in hell. But on the other side, is the undeniable truth of his own experience on that raft. Jim is my friend. He's a loving father. He is a deeply decent human being who cares about me.
And this all leads to the moment. It's the climax of the story. Huck is about to write a letter that would betray Jim, but he hesitates. He thinks about all their time together, he remembers Jim's kindness, his humanity, and then he tears up the letter, fully accepting that according to his deformed conscience, this incredible act of loyalty and love is going to damn him for all eternity. He literally chooses his friend over his soul. Now, Twain, being Twain, doesn't just show us this internal struggle. He zooms out, and he uses satire to hold up a giant mirror to the very society that created this mess in the first place. This exchange right here is absolutely chilling, and it is a masterclass in satire. So a steamboat explodes. Aunt Sally, who's otherwise portrayed as this kind, well-meaning person, asks if anyone was hurt. Huck replies that a black man was killed. Her relief is immediate. Well, it's lucky, because sometimes people do get hurt.
In that one single line, Twain just lays it all bare. He shows how the background assumption of the entire system, that black people aren't fully human, has become so normalized that it's just casual conversation. See, it's not about Aunt Sally being some evil monster. It's that the system's immorality is like poison in the water. Everyone is drinking it, even the good people.
So what can Huck's journey really teach us about morality today? What's the lesson here, beyond just, having good intentions?
Well, what can we really take from all this? First, it's clear our conscience is heavily, heavily conditioned by our society. And that means that in an unjust system, just being good becomes a real challenge. But, and this is the hopeful part, Huck's story shows us a way out. Direct, personal experience has the power to overwrite that faulty programming. And that leads to maybe the most crucial lesson of all. Good intentions are simply not enough when the entire system is pointing you in the wrong direction.
Which kind of leaves us with this final, big, provocative thought. You see, Huck was able to recalibrate his compass because he got away from civilization on that raft with Jim. But what about the rest of us, living deep inside the very systems that shape us? How do we check our own maps? How do we make sure our moral compass is actually pointing true?
For the full long-form deep dive into this book and its ideas, follow the link in the description.
If you enjoy these explainers, please subscribe and comment with books or topics you'd like us to explore next.